Hello, and once again, welcome to our step 4 of our complete Angular 7 user application. In this step, we're going to be building the HTML form for our sign-in page. In step 3, if you recall, we built the sign-in component part of it. Now we're going to use that component to build the part 4 HTML form. This form basically has two fields, two text fields. One of them that takes in the username or email. The other one is a password field that takes in your password. There will be validation on these two fields. So when you log in, when you get to this page, the login button will be disabled until you pass validation, including the length of the, whatever you enter into these fields and other validations I will show you. When that's done, then you'll be able to click on the login button, and I'm going to use some test data to show you how to log in. And when you log in, I'm going to show you how you can see if you're completely logged in, because then you're going to have a JWT token displayed on your browser. If you like this tutorial, please click on the subscribe button so you can get updates on upcoming tutorials. Let's get started. All right, welcome again to this section of the tutorial. In this section, we're going to build the sign-in HTML form. We've already built our sign-in component and our authentication service and our auth guard. So now we're going to build like a front-end HTML for the login page, basically, which we're calling the sign-in. So let's get started. So as you can see, when I come in here, it's bringing me the sign-in works, which is displaying basically what's on the page, the sign-in HTML. So I'm gonna first comment this now, and then I'm gonna introduce material card, mat card, and this is a Angular material component. So in order to use it, you have to go back to your app material. Hello, and once again, welcome to our step 4 of our complete Angular 7 user application. In this step, we're going to be building the HTML form for our sign-in page. In step 3, if you recall, we built the sign-in component part of it. Now we're going to use that component to build the part 4 HTML form. This form basically has two fields, two text fields. One of them that takes in the username or email. The other one is a password field that takes in your password. There will be validation on these two fields. So when you log in, when you get to this page, the login button will be disabled until you pass validation, including the length of the, whatever you enter into these fields and other validations I will show you. When that's done, then you'll be able to click on the login button, and I'm going to use some test data to show you how to log in. And when you log in, I'm going to show you how you can see if you're completely logged in, because then you're going to have a JWT token displayed on your browser. If you like this tutorial, please click on the subscribe button so you can get updates on upcoming tutorials. Let's get started. Get your material module and add it over here. So I'm going to say material mat card module. So everything you add to the imports, you must add to the exports. Save that. We're going to come back in here and do, so there's our material card. And inside here, we're going to have a mat card title. If you want to know what to put into it, you can always go to, on Google Angular material. And whatever is there, you go to the components. And this component we're going to use it a lot. It's called card, mat card. And so it's got the title, subtitle, content, and footer, which are the things we're going to be using. So we're going to say, so we have a title, then we have mat card content, And lastly, we're going to have mat card footer. Okay. And in the title over here, we just basically, first of all, going to do another material card just to make it look good, and I'll show you why we're doing this. So, and for this one, I only want to say ng if authentication service error message, if this or error message. And what I mean by that is if there's an error message in the auth service right here, this error message, or a sign-in component, if there's an error message, I want you to display the error message in this material card right there. That's all I'm saying. Let's compile, make sure that it works. Sometimes it doesn't, So it's building it, and it works. We can see it over there. So it's not displaying the mat card inside there because there's no error messages. Okay. So now, inside this mat card, I'm also gonna have. Okay, so inside this mat card, I'm gonna have a subtitle, mat card subtitle. Okay. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna have two of them. Okay. Two mat card subtitles. Make sure nothing crashes. I like this developer tool thing because it will tell you if there's any errors in your HTML immediately, and then so you don't have to proceed making mistakes. So this one I'm saying if, okay, ng if auth service error message, okay? And I'm gonna say just align center. So let me just say it there. Align, yes, there. Align center. Okay, so in this one, I'm going to do the same thing here, but I'm going to say this one is just going to be if there's an error message. So that's all I'm going to do for the subtitles. We look at it, it's compiling. Looks like there's no errors. Okay, good. So let's do something now. So if there's an error in here, what I want it to do is to do a div. Okay, and this div I'm going to say ng class is equal to, and I'm going to do error, which is a CSS class, and we'll just build it immediately. Auth service error message. Okay, and I'm going to do this, and then interpolation. Again, we're going to say auth service error message. So we're displaying this error message if that is there. So this is a CSS class. We're going to go here and build it. So this CSS class, we're just going to say something like that. And so the way that is a font size 12. I'm going to say font size 12 pixels. And I'm going to say color crimson, which is a red. Okay. So that's what this class is. So it's going to display this message if it's there in crimson. And I'm going to do the same thing here. Okay, I'm gonna do the same thing here, but this time it's the error from the sign-in class. So let's save that and make sure that it compiles. Okay. After this, we're gonna do, so that's the mat card title. Okay. So after this mat card, we're gonna do another div here. Div class is equals to title header, and this is a CSS class which we're going to build right now. I'm going to say login form, but this title header here is basically a CSS class right here, and it's gonna say font size. I want it to be 19 pixels, and I want the color to be, I'm gonna do 3F 5 1B 5, like that. Okay, so that's what I'm saying for this title. Okay, and then we're going to put in, after the title, we're going to put a divider here. Okay, and in order to use divider, again, that's an Angular material module, so we have to import it here. Mat divider module. That's what you want. Everything you add to the imports, you must add to the exports right there. Come back in here. So after the divider, we want to add another div. And this div class, I'm going to say hint message, okay, which is another CSS class. We're going to add it. I'll say hint user1@gmail.com password. So if you're trying to log in, you know, to test this form, I want to give you a hint that that's the username, that's the password. And I'm going to come over here, add that CSS class before I forget. And that CSS class is just, I want a color called Burlywood, and I want font size to be 55%. That's what I want it to be. Okay, for that one. Okay, so we come back in here and we look at it. Let's save this form and see what happens now. And as you can see, that form is there, but it's not centered. I wanted that centered. The reason why it's not centered is because the title here needs to be centered. Align with the center, like that, first of all. Okay, so our form needs to get centered properly. Okay, so that's what I want. I want everything centered in the form like that. Mat card here, just to make it look nice. And inside there, I'm gonna have mat card content only. Okay, and the content, I'm gonna have something called a mat grid list. Okay, with how many columns? One column. Row height is equals to 115 pixels. I'm just going to restrict it to that. Now this is material, Angular material module, so you have to come over here and do material mat grid list module. So you have to have that, otherwise it'll cost you a lot of trouble. So that's the grid list, and in the grid list I'm gonna have a mat grid tile. Okay, and that tile, inside there, I'm gonna have a div. And this div is gonna be of a class called controls container. And let's go ahead and first of all build this this CSS class. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to say this, and this is a little bit more complex. So what we're going to do is to say first controls container here is going to have a width of about 100%, and it's going to have a padding of 5%. And then one other thing we have to do here, again, controls container, and this time around we're going to say whenever you have this, you're going to put it into this is all CSS. We're going to say a width of 100%, like that. And we're done with the controls container. So we say that here, and now we're going to put a form here. Form, and we're going to say form group is equal to, we need this form group here, which is called login form. We need that there. So that's what I'm going to put in there. Okay. And let's see what happens actually so far. Okay, so you can see a form is sitting in there. It's 119 pixels down here, and we're going to go ahead now add form controls. So I'm going to be adding mat form fields, and so mat form field. Okay, and this is again Angular material component. So I'm going to do here mat form field module. Whenever you add to the imports, must add to the exports. Come back here, and one more thing, I'm going to be adding an input field. Okay, so it's going to have something like this. I'm going to say, first of all, mat icon, mat prefix, account circle, input. Okay, is a mat input, and this is again a material Angular material component. So you need to come over here before you use it. You need to do material mat input module. You need that, otherwise it gives you a lot of problems. So we're going to use the input, and in the input here we're going to do type. It's just going to be text, and form control name is going to be, we're going to pick this guy here called username. Okay, so form control name is the placeholder is equal to username, and I'm going to say, just for clarity, it's also email. Okay, and I'm going to say required. Okay, kind of like something like that. Right? So we're going to do mat error. Okay, and I'm going to do this error ng if, so we're going to throw an error here if the following happens: login form controls And the control we're talking about is this control right here. So if that errors required, all we're going to say is we're going to say username is required. Okay, something like that. Let's see what happens now in the form. Uh-oh, got errors. Okay, so map icon is an angular command. That verified. Okay, good. We forgot to put in first of all, before the input, we needed something called, I'm just going to put it here, material mat icon module. So we needed that. That is needed right there. So that's why that error is. So it's complaining that, you know, you're telling me to do an icon and I don't know where to get it from. So basically that's the way it is. So username is going to be like that. This right here should be stretching all the way. I don't know why it's not stretching all the way. Controls container. This class controls container needs to be width 100%, padding 5%. Needs to go into there. Yeah, that's the way it should be. Okay, good. Okay, good. So there's something we're missing here, but we'll correct that. Yeah, we'll correct it. But anyway, so that is that. So what I want to do now is to copy this, because we have, if you look at our sign-in component, we have 3 validators. We have required, minimum length, and we have email. So we're going to do required min length, and I'm going to say username must be at least 5 characters. Long. And then over here is going to be email. And I'm going to say username must be a valid email. So that's all I'm going to say for that. So if you look at our form, and you know, we're going to find out why it's not stretching all the way to the end. So if I go there and I move out of it, you can see it say username is required. If I type in 3 characters, say username must be at least 5 characters. I'm going to do 5 characters. That's going to go, must be a valid email address, email. So you see, so validation is already done for you. Okay, so then we're going to have another field that's almost similar to this. So I'm just going to copy this. And this one is going to be, I'm going to say HTTPS. That's the, okay. And I'm going to say this type is password. And form control name is password. So whatever is that, we're just going to replace that. Then I'm going to say password as the placeholder. And I'm going to say same things here. Okay. When we look at password, okay, so that's password, password, password. Password has required, minimum length, and maximum length. So let's look at it. So it's required, okay, minimum length and maximum length must be at most 20 characters. Okay, so there we go. Let's see how that goes. I'm going to say that. So basically, I'm bringing my form over to the math card content side. Okay, so that goes there. And this is going to go here. And I'm going to delete that. So I'm trying to figure out why. Okay, so math card. Okay, so form math card. Then math card content. And then math grid list, one column, 115. Math grid tile. Okay. And class controls container. Let's see what's happening now. Okay, so that's the way I wanted it to look. I wanted to stretch all the way to the end like that. So the form is filled. So if you like narrow, so like one of the things with the developer tools you can do is to see the way it looks on a mobile device, and this is the way it looks, and that's what I wanted it to look like. Okay, great. So it's centered properly. So now let's implement the buttons for this. And the buttons, so we're going to put them inside here, the math card footer. And so before we do that, let's put another divider before the footer. Math divider. Okay. And then over here in the footer, now we're going to put in, I'm going to say A, math raised button. Okay. We're going to say router link. So this button, when clicked, it'll take us to the following link. It's going to take us to sign up. Okay. So which is the other screen? That means that you can access the sign up screen. If you're unable to log in, you can go sign up instead. So that's what we're doing. Color here, I'm going to make it 1. Okay, and I'm going to say sign up. Okay, or register, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to save this, and you're going to notice a button. Okay, there it is. Now, 2 problems. This is just a link, and I want it, let's say we want it in the right hand side. We want the buttons on the right hand side. So what I want to here say is align right. Okay, and again, this button is a material module. So I'm going to say here material math button module. You need that module in order to display the button properly instead of a link. So we're going to do this and this. Now let's see, this should move over here and become a button. So moved over there, and it's a button that's clickable. And we want one last thing on this page. We want to put a real button, actually. Button, not raised button. Color, I'm going to make it primary. And it's going to be primary, and it's going to be disabled. Disable if login form invalid, then I don't want to show the button. And if you click on it, what I want to do is a method called onLogin, which is this method over here. So once you click on that, I want you to go in there and do this. So we're there again, and then so I want to call this button login. Save that, come back to the page, and now our page is done. Okay, So it basically looks like that. This button is right now disabled because if you go here, user name, so let's try to enter this thing here that they told us it was a user1 at gmail.com password. See, now it's enabled, and we can see it looks like that on a mobile phone. Very good to know. So we're done building this form. So now to test it, eventually we're going to build the backend, but right now I have a backend running that has a user database, and let's see if it works. So we're gonna, and I'll show you this later, but in order to go to the backend is running on port 8080, and this is running on port 4200. So you're gonna have a course error. So I've installed this course over here plugin, and to get it, you can just go and say Chrome cross plugin extension or whatever. It's an extension of a plugin extension, and you just pick whatever the first one is. Yeah, you can take this one, allow, and install it. And once you install it, it looks kind of like this. So in order to go to the backend, I'm gonna just go to it and I'll say enable it. Once I say enable, this will allow me to connect from 4200 to the backend, and we'll see what happens. So right now I have username, password. I'm gonna say login. See, it logged in properly, and this is what we need. This is a JWT token. So it basically just went to the backend. So what it did, again, like we programmed it, we click on this, goes to on login. On login over here is just saying, okay, fine, go to my authentication service, okay, and pass in username and password. And the authentication service, auth service, it just basically, just get rid of this. It's just going in and saying, okay, fine. Use the post to go to the backend and bring me back a user if there's a user in the database with a username and password that matches that. Okay, the headers we're passing here are just application JSON itself. So that's what happened. So ladies and gentlemen, so if I go back now, so what we were saying in here, if you look at our routing module, we are saying that we want to go to list user, but we are using an auth guard that's saying, the auth guard is just basically saying, that if there exists a token, okay, and where does the token come in? You look in the auth service, it's saying successfully log in a user and add a token. So the token has been added, so it's looking at that, and so now it's saying, okay, fine, I found a token, so what do I do? So now if you find a token, redirect the user to this page, and that's what happened. So if you want to go back in here, you can just go to the sign in form to see our form again. In that way. And there is our sign in form. And that's it for now, ladies and gentlemen. We've just designed our user login form. And thank you very much for watching step 4 of our tutorial. We were able to build our login page, the two fields, the username and the password, including validation, where if you don't fill up the form correctly, then the login button is disabled. If you do, then it's enabled, and then you were able to click on it. We built this page based on our part 3 of the series, where we build the component part. So this is only the HTML form. So thank you very much for watching. As usual, please click on the subscribe button to get updates on upcoming tutorials. Thank you very much for watching. Bye.